YouTube, how are we? Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. If you are not watching this tournament, go check it out because there have been some phenomenal moments so far. So it is the Atlanta FaZe $25,000 throwback tournament to Black Ops 4. It's being sponsored by Scuff Gaming. There's ATL FaZe, that's their main stream. There's a Bravo stream. There's a Charlie stream. So there are like 4 or 5 streams going on this weekend. And this is very reminiscent of how the MLG tournaments used to be. So there is group play. After group play, you're going to be breaking it down into brackets. So this has offered some unbelievable moments, and none more than this final of this matchup. CELLIUM makes a play that we haven't seen in a really long time. The dude goes absolutely nuts to win this match for his team. Make sure you stay here until the end. We're going to be breaking it all down. If you look at the time in the top middle there, it's 81 to 69. Of course, we have the Atlanta FaZe roster against Team LBX. So for Atlanta FaZe, we have their roster of ARCITYS, SIMP, CELLIUM, and ABEZY. Over for Team LBX, we have Exceed, who was with the Minnesota Rocker, went over to LAG. We have Nero, we have Exotic, we have Noisy. So this was actually a really good series. This map was super competitive, and I don't know, it's fun to get the competitive juices flowing again. But right now, if we go ahead and we look at the mini map here, we can see that we are currently in the 4th hardpoint and we're about to rotate over to P1. So P1 is on the top side of the map. It just popped right here. Let's go ahead. Let's pause this. Let's break it down just so you guys have an idea in terms of what's happening, where things are at. Just so you guys, I know that we haven't watched Black Ops 4 in a really long time. Maybe you're not familiar with this map whatsoever, but the first hardpoint is up here over by the cliff. Second hardpoint rotates over to the right side of the map over here. Third hardpoint is over here by Fountain, and then 4th hardpoint is down on the bottom side of the map near Barrels. So as we're looking through rotations right here, if you're looking for P1 and P2, then you want to have control of this right-hand side of the map, so you get the closer spawn trying to get inside of P2. As it rotates back to P3, you want to try to control this spawn so that you can get inside of P3 from either of these lanes, lock down the left, the middle, and the right. So just wanted to make sure that before we get into everything that's happening here, you guys have an idea in terms of where people are trying to go, why they're trying to do what they are trying to do, so that we're set moving forward. But the one thing that I really took away from this is that this was a super competitive map. And you would expect, well, they've got ARCITYS, they got SIMP, ABEZY, and CELLIUM. I mean, these are 4 absolute superstars, at least budding superstars in the scene. And now, again, this is Black Ops 4, so it hasn't been played in a pretty long time. There's not that learning curve, right? The more you play Modern Warfare, you play it for 4 months in a row, 5 months in a row, 6 months in a row. Eventually, it gets to where, like, okay, we got it. We know what's going on here. And then the skill gap can be carried out a little bit more between some of those players based on who has the higher ceiling. So that's what you see over time. But right now, if you're just hopping into a Black Ops 4 tournament, and you haven't been grinding it for 6 months like everybody else, or nobody's been grinding for 6 months, then that skill gap isn't quite as great. As we look at the mini map right here, we can see that we're rotating over to P2. We're on board with CELLIUM, and those red arrows are on the right-hand side of the map. So as this hard point pops, initially Atlanta's going to end up having those spawns. Now, will they be able to keep it? Of course, that's always the biggest question. But there we go. ABEZY ends up getting the last kill on Exceed, and it looks like the rest of these 25 seconds here are probably going to end up going towards Atlanta. But as we say that, so there was just a kill right in the middle of this room to the left of where ARCITYS at, and they were able to push out the back, and that's not what you want. As we're rotating here, just take a peek at the mini-map, because remember, P3 is over here, P3 is right here, and Nero is over there. So Nero's the one that rotated early. As I said, there was a kill right here, and that person ended up pushing through, which gave Team LBX these back spawns. So that is not what you're looking for, because it's about to rotate from P2 to P3. You want to rotate over, get these spawns. So the best case scenario for Team LBX was to just let the rest of that time go, rotate over so that you would have spawns as it goes to P3. They were already winning. If they gave up every single other second here inside of P2 to Atlanta, then it's a tie ball game as it rotates to P3 and they're going to be set up. So this is not best case scenario, right? We're rotating over now and it's just Nero does get a two-piece, though. Nero gets a two-piece. Simp is able to clean it up, and the spawns end up flipping. So just like that, right? And that's the thing with 4v4. If you're talking about, I know that we've talked a few times on this channel about the difference between 4v4 and 5v5. Nero comes through, gets a two-piece. You get one other kill. You can push out that back spawn, and especially in games like Black Ops 4, it's not going to force you in that back spawn if that area is contested. And that's kind of exactly what you saw right there. Team LBX was able to get a couple kills. Once that happens, you can push forward, gain map control, and as soon as that area becomes contested, Atlanta's going to spawn out over towards mid-map, and now you overtake that spawn. So really nice job there out of Team LBX. It looked like at the end of P3 there, they were going to end up being the team that was down by a considerable margin because they didn't have rotations, but they're able to win it. And we're rotating over to P4. Interesting note about P4 here inside of this hard point is that this is, so like P1, there's some pretty open lanes, right? P3, there's some pretty open lanes, but P4 inside this barrel hard point location, everything is up close and personal. So this is where, exactly what I was going to say, look in the bottom left. This is where the SOGs, the main SMGs, really take over. So Atlanta is in there. They didn't get the first few points that while they were in there, but Simp with a two-piece, ABEZY with the kill. And that's just reminiscent of having SMGs and being in this close, confined area, is that once you are here and you have your SMGs set up, they have a considerable advantage over the Maddox. Although Simp, those were kind of shaky shots there. You don't see that from him very often. But if we check in on the minimap, you can see that as Atlanta was leaving P4, they pushed out the right-hand side of the map. So they're trying to gain that right-hand spawn location so that after they can get in, they can try to contest inside of P1, and then they would have that initial spawn as it rotates over to P2. But just like that, Noisy gets a couple kills on rotation, and they end up spawning out. I mean, this is just a really nice job of Team LBX of rotating early and gaining those rotations. Think about it. As we went back to P3, they ended up winning those rotations, even though they weren't set up necessarily to begin with. So they win those rotations on P3. As it rotates over to P4, there's kind of a jumbled mix there. Goes from P1 to P2. They have that right-hand spawn. Now, they did get slayed out. But that's why I love 4v4 so much, because kills matter, right? Think about back to Modern Warfare. If a team was set up on rotations, like you're going back to Warehouse when you're playing Gunrunner. If you have rotations, those back rotations in Gunrunner, you're probably going to end up keeping that spawn for the majority of the time because there's 5 people, and with squad spawns, there's so many people there, you're probably going to end up keeping those spawns. Whereas in a game like this, you have people fighting for the hard point. So at most, what is it, like 2v2 on rotations? Maybe. Sometimes it's just a 1v1. And that's what makes it so important, is that if you win that 1v1 on rotation, you're going to end up gaining those spawns for your team, and there's just so much more importance to stuff like that. So that's just why I love watching this so much more. But right now we're in P2. We're about to rotate over to P3, and this is where it goes absolutely insane. So nice kills right there out of Team LBX. Let's take a pause real quick, just look at the minimap, because you can kind of see how this is about to end up, right? Look at the score in the top middle. It's 234 to 212, so they've already got a 22-point advantage. As it's about to rotate over to P3, you can see P3 is over here. You can see all of these blue arrows right here on rotation. So they're already going to have rotations. It would take a superstar play in order for Atlanta to come back in this. And that's what you end up getting, right? That's what's so good about ARCITYS and CELLIUM and ABEZY and SIMP, is that when they need to clutch up, every single one of them has the individual just ability to make things happen, and that's what they do here. So at the beginning here, there's going to be a battle for the hill. We are going to flip to CELLIUM in just a moment, and it's absolutely insane. I think there's like 1 or 2 more kills that come through. CELLIUM's going to be in that jump up window. I believe it comes through in just a moment, like right here. So CELLIUM's going to be in this jump up this bar area, and here it comes. Gets the first kill on Nero. I mean, at this point in time, he has to go big, right? He's the only person that's pushed forward. There he gets a 2-piece. There he gets the 3rd. There he gets the 4th, even though that guy was a little bit injured, right? He was weak. It's not like it was totally because of him, but he does get the 4th. He gets the 5th. He looks over towards the stairs. He gets the 6th. If he doesn't get one of those kills, the rest of that time ends up going to Team LBX, and the game is over. He had to have clutched up every single one of those kills, and now as it's rotating over towards this wine barrels location, he's got his streaks. He's going to call them in. Once they come in, he's going to be able to push out. Now the SOGs are taking over inside of that P4 hardpoint, and just like that, CELLIUM clutches up. They're able to get that victory. I mean, it's just insane. If you think about who's capable of doing that in the league, sure, Shotzzy can do stuff like that. Envoy can do stuff like that. But when you look at Atlanta, ARCITYS normally isn't in the situation to do that because he's more the main AR. But SIMP can absolutely clutch up, win a game for his team. ABEZY can do it. CELLIUM can, I mean, all of these guys, they're flex, they're 2 main SMGs. They can all clutch up and get a big victory like that, and that's what makes them so dangerous. So if you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I put out brand new videos like this every single day, breaking down competitive Call of Duty. Leave a like. It really helps out the channel. Thank you guys so much for the support as of late. Cannot wait to get going in CDL 2021. With that, sorry, I'm excited. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.